Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we start again. Hope that you had an opportunity to have the lunch and still talk a bit, network a bit, exchange views, of course, on the topics that were discussed this morning. And we're going to proceed now with the second panel, which is, I think, a bit more military flavor today. The panel will be moderated by our strategic analyst, Davis Allison. Davis is from the US originally and joined us now for a couple of years. And we're quite happy to have him here. And he will be the one moderating this panel that will be about the military applications of the Baltic Defence Line and other fortifications in modern warfare. Davis, the floor is yours to take us with you.
Of course. Thank you, Michelle, and thank you all for joining us again. We're looking forward to having this second panel. We got to start out with a great discussion with the four ministers, where we got to talk about a lot of the political and strategic level of what we're talking about with Eastern Flank defense, but also wider NATO defense. But now we're going to start getting into a little bit more detail on some of the actual military implications of that. And with that, I am very happy to be joined today by some military representatives from three of our Baltic allies, starting at the far end there with Lieutenant Colonel Einar Afanasiev from the Estonian Defence Forces. To his side, we have Colonel Andris Sprūds from the Latvian National Armed Forces. And then finally, to my right, Colonel Darius Mailanis from the defense staff of the Lithuanian Armed Forces. This panel will have a very similar format to the previous one. Each of our speakers will have a few minutes to have some opening remarks, then we'll have a moderated discussion, and then open it back up to you. So the last panel started in reverse alphabetical order, which I suppose means I'll go from normal alphabetical order. So Colonel Afanasiev, first over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Einar Afanasiev, Estonian Defence Forces Chief Engineer. So my main topic is engineer stuff, blowing things up, building something, making roads, and destroying them. Couple of notes from my side. So the war in Ukraine has demonstrated the effectiveness of physical defensive structures in restricting and stopping the rapid enemy advance. So it means the old school stuff works very well. All the obstacles, minefields, everything is there. In establishing the defense zone, we are closely working together with Latvia and Lithuania based on the principle that the Baltic state constitutes as a single operational area. So it means our war plans are very closely synchronized and including the Baltic Defence Line, what is a part of it. And the purpose of the defense zone is to enhance the survivability and operational effectiveness of defending units through the use of field fortification and physical barriers and integrated fire systems. So to do that, we are also integrating all already existing natural obstacles, rivers, lake, all what we can, we will put in this system. The defense zone is a system on strong points, which are about 40 kilometers depth and deep and 100 kilometers wide, covering the entire land border in contact with Russia. The exact locations of the strong points are currently under review because Estonian division is preparing his war plan, and when we are ready, approximately beginning of this year, then also the strong points and the right locations will be there. And if there is no imminent threat to the national security, no mines, no wire barriers or dragon teeth will be established. So there will be safe for civil people to move around. But all all the materials will be as close as possible to the real locations, so that if there is need to establish the obstacles, we will do it. And right now, the main concerns what we have is to have enough resources to buy or rent the land what we need from civilian people, because all the land where we want to build the defense line or our battle positions, that's not the government land, so that's the tricky part here. And altogether, it's all about to do the preparation in peacetime and win time. So because we are understanding that we don't have so much theft like in Ukraine, so that's why we need to start from border, and also we don't have the time. So to do it when everything is already in bad conditions. So we need to start right now and be ready. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much for that opening. I look forward to discussing the Estonian project and also having an engineer on the panel as well. With that, Colonel, over to you.
Good afternoon to everyone. I'm Colonel Andris Sprūds from Latvian National Armed Forces, and I am one of the team members who are responsible about the piece of a Baltic Defence Line in the Latvian part. But first of all, let me thank you for inviting me here today. It's a great opportunity to be here and to discuss about today's main topic. But before jumping to the main topic, I will say a few words about my background. I've been in military since 1996, starting as EOD. EOD stands for Explosive Ordnance Disposal. Also, as already mentioned, we both know how to blow things up. Starting as a EOD squad leader, afterwards EOD platoon commander, and then company commander. And then my leadership decided that I have to learn something. I went to the Baltic Defence College. After Baltic Defence College, I was appointed in the National Guard's logistic battalion. After my next position was National Guard's infantry brigades commander, and since last summer I'm responsible about the Baltic Defence Line. But now let's go to the main topic. Today is the military implications of the Baltic Defence Line and other fortifications in the modern warfare. I already wrote three main reasons why it's important for Latvia. And the first is Latvia does not have the strategic depth to defeat the enemy in the mobile defense maneuver. Obstacles are the most effective measure to buy time and space at the beginning of possible conflict. A second one, the war in Ukraine has shown that regaining territory is very difficult and comes with a huge cost. More importantly, the enemy is committing war crimes against people in occupied territories. And planning and the preparation of permanent counter-mobility measures is the most effective method in the current circumstances to implement the principles of modern forward defense. The defense line would help to create better conditions for primarily safe defense and gain the time for arrival of Allied forces. It would also force the enemy to plan a great effort and deploy greater resources to overcome the obstacles, to overcome the defenders. And here one example from the recent history from the last century, from the Second World War, this probably already know, have read somewhere about the Kurland pocket. This pocket proved that very good build this barrier can have a significant impact on the enemy's war plans and consume a significant amount of his military resources without achieving the desired result. Now, to sum up what was said here, once again, the main reason why we need to build this defense line in Latvia, and also looking looking on our neighbors, is to create a complex of counter-mobility measures on the Latvian eastern border in order to deny Russia quick and far-reaching invasion with the ground forces into depth of Latvian operational area by starting defense activities from the first inch from the state border. Yeah, and then speaking about defense line itself, this is not only the hedgehogs or only these dragon teeth to put them on to dig anti-tank ditches. This is a complex, and it's a set of complex measures that includes, and we have six lines here. This is a counter-mobility. I already mentioned about these hedgehogs, anti-tank ditches, and so on. Vulnerability. This is the fortifications. Positions, headouts, shelters, ammunition depots, etc. Then, if we need to have a good this defensive line, also is necessary to have some indirect fire support. This is artillery. This is our third line, and then of course air defense and early warning system as well. Because without early warning system, it's very difficult to see what's going on, what is happening on the battlefield. And the last one is the communications. We are planning to put some optical cables and some connections in the main places in the defense line. And then speaking about the budget, we already started this project last year. And speaking about the budget, it's 3.3 million euros. Last year we spent around 20 million euros to buy counter-mobility materials. It was necessary to buy them just to close already, not to close those crossing points on the border, and just to do immediate actions on the border. Yeah, and then the budget spendings, we are planning to continue to buy Class 4, military Class 4. This is construction materials. We'll continue to acquire and to purchase sensors, and this is very important to buy sensors which can be working together with the border guard units. Then I already mentioned this indirect fire artillery systems and Class 5. We see that it's necessary explosives and mines, explosives, and some different scatterable mine-laying systems. It's very important to have. And the last line is to support our state border guard units. And for this year, we have the plans. We'll continue to close those those roads which are not in use anymore, because I mentioned we already closed them, but we still have to check if there is all those materials delivered here with the blocking effect from the military point of view. And still we have 6 crossing points. 3 are on the motorways and 3 are on the railways where we have to preposition those counter-mobility materials on our border. We have 3 crossing points already mentioned, 2 with the Russians and 1 with the Belarusians still working, and 3 railway crossing points. Of course, in the peacetime we are not able to close them, but we have to preposition those counter-mobility materials just in case to be ready to close it. And I already mentioned, just we'll continue to acquire and to purchase anti-tank mines and explosives. And the main effort for this year is for the shelters. And we are looking forward to our neighbors, Estonians. They are a little bit ahead of us. They have already tested some of the shelters, and this year is our main effort, just to have the best solution at the end of the year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colonel. And just reiterating the point for anyone who hasn't had the opportunity to travel to this part of Europe in the past and really get a sense of the geography and the problems that these gentlemen are trying to solve. I had the opportunity when I worked at NATO to have actually a Lithuanian colleague walk me about as close to the Belarusian border as physically possible. And he's like, you notice you don't see a single physical barrier between us and them. And it only then really kind of struck how much of a challenge this really was going to be for this sort of transformation. So thank you, Colonel. Now on to our final presenter.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Colonel Milunas, Lithuanian Defense Staff. I am Chief J3 or Chief of Operations. I am not engineer, but I have engineers under my command who are working closely with those two gentlemen. So I will start my intro with bottom line up front, saying that basics still matter in modern warfare. Despite the importance of new technologies and their impact on the warfare, lessons from Ukraine demonstrate that basics of combat are still valid, still important, and still play a significant role on the modern battlefield. Analysis of Ukrainian lessons from my personal point of view shows that everything is around three core elements. It's a basic knowledge and skills, discipline on the battlefield, and leadership. And all those three elements requires a lot of time to be developed and a lot of effort to be implemented. So the timing currently is probably the most expensive and most important resource for us in our case, talking through a counter-mobility point of view. So mobility, counter-mobility, survivability as I would say three very important elements of basic skills on the battlefield, demonstrated the great value to the outcomes on the battlefield in Ukraine for both sides, for Ukrainians and for the Russians, and taking into considerations those lessons from Ukraine, also our own experience from our national exercise, from international or multinational exercise, knowing difficulty of the procedures and how much time do we need to prepare this engineer battlefield or do this engineer battlefield preparation. Lithuania, together with our neighbors and regional partners, decided to build and implement this Baltic Defence Line. Nationally, we call it as a national counter-mobility effort. And on my second slide, if we can have, it's a general overview how it seems in Lithuania, this counter-mobility effort, and what lines of effort we are focusing on. Just, I will not go through, but just for your own, let's say, analysis, while I will continue my speech. So we know and understand our own geography, Lithuanian geography. We know the length of border lines with Belarus and with Kaliningrad. We know the depth of our area. We know traffic or road network. We know the historical and possible enemy avenues of approach to Lithuania. And this knowledge and understanding gives us, let's say, aim and understanding that we cannot offer or allow any trade of the space for the enemy, even if it is temporary. So any loss of any square kilometer of our land will reduce significantly the area available for us, for our preparation for defense, for the deployment of allied forces, for the deployment of resources, for host nation support to the NATO allied troops in Lithuania, for our reserve forces training, and for the civilian movements and all the life, let's say, of the state internally. So we say that we need to start not only to not give any inch of territory to the enemy, but we need to start our defense from the first inch of our, let's say, territory immediately from the borderline. And that's our lines of effort, what you see like it is written, to be able and to have your resources on time, start preparation of a battlefield, use all these resources and fix the enemy on borderline, do not allow him to enter country from the march or from the move, and not only to, let's say, fix on camera this act of aggression from the Russia or from Belarus territory, but on the borderline to start a fight and resistance and, if possible, the blocking of the enemy lines, forces. From the very beginning of our, let's say, this effort, we as a military or armed forces, we started to fight two narratives internally in Lithuania. First, it was that almost fortification of the border area can save the world and can save Lithuania, and we need to do everything to dig in, to construct all the kind of marginal line around Lithuania. It was mostly from the political establishment point of view, initial point of view, and next the narrative was that everything is kind of bullshit and waste of money and nothing will help. It came from, let's say, more from a regular population. So we needed to convince both sides that we cannot just to left or right, just to choose one of the approach, but we need to have a balanced approach. We need to count the resources. We need to count, let's say, effects, what we can achieve on the border area, and to explain and educate in some extent the population and political establishment that these fortifications, counter mobility, all that stuff is only one piece of the puzzle when we're talking about the defense of the state, and that only integration of all the pieces of this puzzle and synchronization can give us an effect, not a separate elements, but integration of all the elements. So far it seems we are good with this understanding. However, time to time we need to come back with this explanations and messaging to our population. Psychology and informational environment. Yeah, when we started to implement our concept, we recognized that that actually everything what we did on the ground and what we have on the ground has and creates some psychological effect to our population. We started to understand that this effort is not only military initiative, but is, let's say, whole of government or whole of state approach to the defense of the state, and everyone in Lithuania, not only armed forces, are thinking and doing something in this regard, and it creates a positive, let's say, attitude and positive climate among the population. However, we need to continue to monitor information environment, what messaging is going around regarding this issue, because time to time, again, some propaganda style messages, some just not, or wrong understanding about survivability, fortification, counter-mobility starts to move again in this informational environment, and we need to monitor and re-engage again and again our population. Availability of resources, that's actually the most important portion of our national counter-mobility effort. We need to have those resources in place in peacetime, because from our exercise, from the practice, from the lessons identified, we know that the first hours, first days of the conflict, doesn't matter how well you are prepared, but always will be some degree of a chaos in the states. It will be difficult to get some resources to buy, to transport them into the right locations. So what we want with our effort, we want to have a part of the resources already available in the most significant or needed places, and allow own national troops and NATO troops who will operate in Lithuania to use those resources immediately until the follow-on, let's say, resources will come to Lithuania. National industry will be capable to produce additional staff. So with this, we want to ensure the first reaction, smooth reaction and preparation of a battlefield from the very beginning. And adaptability, we see this effort not as already, finalized effort, but just as a very beginning. And during the implementation of these measures, we see already possibility how to adapt this initial concept. We started to focus only on the most significant or most risky area in Lithuania, the southern part, building this engineer resource packs. And now we see that we can and we need and we have resources to expand to the other areas of second or third, let's say, priorities, but to continue with this, to build those resource parks. We already started to focus only on land domain. Now we are focusing on adding additional to this sea or maritime domain to have some obstacles and measures to protect harbor seaports from the sea. So it's an ongoing process we have, and we allow ourselves to have some flexibility in the development and implementation of this concept, and we will, for sure, I'm sure we will continue taking into account our own lessons from Estonia, from Latvia, from Poland also, and from our common activities and exercises with EFP battle group in Lithuania and our allied forces coming to exercise in Lithuania. So at this point, I will stop.
Great, thank you very much. And I think this gives us a really good platform to go into the rest of the discussion. We have roughly 45 minutes or so of discussion that we can have. So I'll ask a couple questions before opening it up to the crowd. First, I wanted to start with maybe a little bit of a higher order question, just across the armed forces in each of your cases. I saw myself at NATO, and others will have seen there's a years-long focus on maneuver and big term, concepts like multi-domain operations, and all these things seem to be focused on movement and very rapid action and rapid speed. But one thing that hasn't come up very often is the topic of things like counter mobility, fortifications, and so on. So I'm curious in your cases what some of the discussions were like in the armed forces about how to go about implementing this new line and how that fit within some of that legacy thinking in the armed forces that was there around maneuver and around mobility. So we'll follow the same line that we did before. I'll start with you, Colonel. Colonel.
Okay, thank you. So in Estonian, it was very easy because we were all the time focusing the easy things and conventional warfare. So yes, we were participating in Afghanistan and all these missions, resolute support and so on, but the main focus for us was our neighbor and his actions. So we were like preparing and training ourselves all the time the same way. Yes, with this mission part a little bit different, but for us there was nothing new. What is new for us is that we developed our own divisional HQ, and also right now we are procuring divisional assets, and now we are focusing more deep operations so that put the pain to our Russian neighbor in Russian soil, not only in Estonian soil. So that's the thing what we are focusing. Before that, it was like close battle where the brigade close to the border were fighting their thing, but now we are focusing more deep battle in Russian soil also.
Sure. Interesting.
Yeah,
That
from
sounds
Latvia, it
similar in
was
Latvia?
our defensive plans we had before was slightly different when we have to implement this defensive line, and now we have to adjust this defensive line. As I said, it was slightly different. We didn't plan just to stop the enemy on the first inch. That's I am saying that we have to adjust. But right now, this agreement is made, and our plans are not completely implemented in our defensive plan, those defensive line, but this process is still going. But I think at the end of 2025, everything will be done. Yeah.
And Lithuania, does that reflect similar experience?
Yeah, just as I remember very well the timings when only movement and fire was the most attractive and most important element of any exercises, and this fortifications and digging foxhole was a kind of punishment for every soldier. But starting from 2014, we started probably to change our mindset and understanding. From 2014, it was still difficult to get to the hearts and minds of the soldiers, explaining the importance of this survivability, counter-mobility issues. From 2022, it became much easier, knowing all these, let's say, lessons and effects from Ukraine. But now we have for sure the understanding that, movement, maneuver, fire, it's key, let's say, elements of a battle, and without movement and fires and maneuvers, you will not win. Only with staying in the trenches, but the trenches, fortification system, all this survivability issues, it enables movement and maneuver. So as I told previously, fortifications is only one piece in the puzzle. So everything should be integrated, synchronized, and only in this integrated approach we can expect the success on battlefield.
Certainly. And sort of across them, and it's certainly our first panel, the lessons and observations, particularly with the Ukrainian armed forces, have come up quite a bit. So I'm curious too how, and you've mentioned a few already in your respective cases, what have been some of the most important observations, if we can call them lessons yet, from the Ukrainian experience of fighting the Russians, and how are those being integrated and implemented into both the engineering effort of the Baltic Defence Line, but also the broader, whether it's force transformation or defense strategy. So again, we'll start at the end here.
Yes, as our ministers also already pointed out, we have done a lot of visits to Ukraine and bring back good lessons, identified lessons learned. So, for example, Estonian engineers visited at the end of last year, and I know a little bit before that, Lithuanian colleagues were also there, and we were sharing the information with each other. But the main points is that for us, that do what you have done. I mean, if there is like time for you, like a break of battle, then dig in, because the next second indirect fire will come there. So if there is possible, always dig in, use the mines. It doesn't matter, is it first generation mine or future mine, it works very well. And also, for example, Ukrainian lessons identified is that these new generation mines, smart mines, how we call them, are very good, but there is like but only 40 days they are active, and then you need to go and change the battery. So, what you will do if you have this kind of line like you have in Ukraine? So rather you will have like 5 times more first generation mines, and you don't even need to dig them. You have also the videos where the tanks are hitting them anyway, so it works very well. But you need to have them. Not very much countries have the anti-tank mines nowadays, so.
Sure.
But all these old school techniques works very well. The new thing is, of course, those drones. And with drones, they are doing different things. So for that, we need to be ready. Other than that, for us, it's just remind the old stuff, what we have, teach to our conscripts and professionals, and keep going.
So, yeah, certainly the drones are interesting. I can imagine even from the fortification engineering perspective, seeing some of the glide drones as well that can come in at interesting angles to pose that much of a risk are an interesting development as well. I'm curious in Latvian case.
My colleague
similar.
almost mentioned everything, but I would like to add we also exchanging information with the Ukrainians. We have a military attaché there. He is writing reports almost every week, and also the visits. Myself, I also was in Ukraine and was attending and seeing those fortifications already built. And to add to my colleague about those anti-tank mines, of course, we are also looking to buy second generation of anti-tank mines, but this is the biggest point that if you put them, then it's just a matter of time, but they are not anymore, how to say, active. That's the reason we also are looking forward to buy. We have, and we are looking to buy more first-generation anti-tank mines that we can put them, and then they can wait for the enemy, not for only 4, 5, 7, or 24 days. They can wait for the enemy 1 year, 2 years. Yeah, that's
Interesting. And in the Lithuanian case?
Yeah, I will not focus on the engineer lessons, let's say, identified, but in general more few important lessons, probably what we relearn, let's say, from the Ukrainians' experience. It's a role and competences in medical care and first aid support with this understanding that it's not enough, just to when you are injured, just to call doc, and somebody will come with an ambulance up to point of injury and will do everything. So everyone needs to be kind of expert in this first aid support. Next thing, it's the importance of this cross training within the unit. It's not enough, to have only one, let's say, organic machine gunner in the squad. Everyone should be able to operate all the equipment, all the weapon systems, what are in the unit. Without these skills, just in case one key person is injured or killed, this unit lost his part of his effectiveness. So it's important understanding, and sometimes you need to get lessons or examples from the outside, in our case from Ukraine, just to start to believe in this, that those skills are important to have, and these things are important to do. And probably I will stop on this, yeah.
Sure, and continuing with observations, actually, moving to the other side of the border, as these new plans are being developed and the new line is going into place, the Russian way of fighting that we've seen, as these plans have been developed and as these new capabilities have been planned, what are some of the major concerns about what Russia can do? We talked a bit in the first panel about them reconstituting their forces to a significant degree, especially into the future. So what about the Russian way of fighting is of particular concern, and where does the thinking around the Baltic Defence Line fit into countering that? So again, starting with Colonel Afanasyev.
So overall, I would say that the Russian way to fight haven't changed. They are doing it the same stuff according to their manuals, doctrines. But when there was rumors that they are stupid and they are not able to listen or identify and learn from the battles, then that's not true. From Ukrainian also a lot of examples where they are smart. They are also thinking and changing things, but overall the system is the same. The main concern for us is that they have everything, a lot, and they don't care human life. So they are just pushing, and that's the main concern. For us, if somebody will get injured in squad, then probably this squad will be dealing with this injured guy. But for them it's just that's the main concern. But as I pointed out already in my speech, we are trying to use all the natural obstacles what we have used Second World War and so on. So all this needs to be done. Sure. And the preparation in peacetime is the key for us. So we need to be ready, and we are not hiding where we are building the positions or stuff. This is also a part of deterrence, because they will figure it out anyway. They have all the recce units and drones and everything. But let them come. We just need to be ready.
Mm-hmm. Is that a similar?
Yes. Okay. We also are following this how the Russians are conducting war in the Ukraine. I think they feel more comfortable to be from position to position, not to go somewhere in deep strikes and so on. This is goes back from the Second World War, but already was mentioned, they are not stupid. They are smart in several moments, and we also, when we look at our potential enemy, we see that we have to have good plans in place, and was mentioned that they are not caring about their people. They have those resources a lot, and most important, they have also those special resources. We are planning, for example, to blow up, to dismount railways, but they have very good force capabilities to rebuild it. And still they have power, but again, I would like to stress that we are ready today. We have to be ready tomorrow, and let them come. Then we'll see what. But let's hope that it won't happen. Yeah. Let's hope that in Europe the peace will come very soon, and we'll live in peace.
Of course. Well,
from my point of view, the Russian ability to mass is a dangerous thing, and it's important to understand and keep in mind ability to mass manpower, weapon systems, all this technological stuff as drones and missiles, and even if you as a NATO army, you have sometimes more superior weapon systems, but you do not have in such a big amount to resist those mass concentration of the Russians, what they can concentrate against a single state or three states, as in case of the Baltic states, and it's dangerous from my point of view. And I think after the Ukraine, they will be back again on this mechanized, let's say, warfare, and it will be based on the use of tanks, IFVs, and all that stuff. And our counter mobility, this effort, Baltic Defence Line, could help to fight with this, splitting this concentration on forces entering Lithuania, for example, and stopping this momentum of Russian advance, forcing them to dismount, to find for any piece of the land, high ground, and all that stuff. In such understanding our effort, what we're doing right now, it could help for us, for NATO, to defend.
And that actually leads nicely into the last question that I'll ask here before I start opening it up to the crowd. It's really two parts, I guess, but about NATO. Of course, each of your countries are hosts to 3 enhanced forward presence part battle groups that are now reinforced since 2022, and of course, NATO plans take that into account. So I'm curious where those battle groups fit into the thinking around the defense line about the not giving 1-inch approach. And then more specifically, also since 2022, Finland and Sweden joining, and whether how much or if that has reshaped any thinking around some of these issues. Colonel.
Yeah. So regarding EFP or now FLF battle group, then Estonia have declared years ago already that this FLF battle group is part of 1st Brigade, and they are fulfilling the 1st Brigade battle plan. So now regarding the FLF brigade, what is coming to Estonia, they have their own role in our war plan, and we are communicating with them as other subunits in divisional level. So they have given orders, they have produced their own plan, and now we are looking it through and trying to make so that the whole division plan will be one. And yeah, I would say that we are quite good shape. Of course, there is a lot work to be done, but every day we are getting better, and yeah, we are moving the right directions.
Excellent.
Yeah, in Latvia, EFP is a part of our infantry brigade. Speaking about the defense line, this is the responsibility for state border guard and our regional brigades, National Guard brigades, 3rd and 2nd. We are speaking about 30 kilometers in the depth, just this defensive line. And EFP battle group is not planned yet to be in those 30 kilometers. They have plans for the other actions according to our defensive plans. But one point what I wanted to add here, we talked before, we have to have abilities. If the first Russian soldier crosses the border, we have to have ability to strike into the Russian territory, and it's very important to have those means at our disposal, because it would help a lot. Concerning, speaking about the Ukraine, at the beginning they were not allowed to strike in Russia, and that's
And certainly, like we heard in the first panel, the focus in NATO on deep precision strike now, which of course has a certain different style of range of thinking, but the logic is still very similar. So I think there's certainly, that lesson is very much getting ingrained in people now. So it's an excellent point. So, Colonel, any additional thoughts?
Just, the presence of EFP as well as joining of NATO, Finland and Sweden, apart with political, let's say, deterrence, all this messaging, it provides quite practical, let's say, benefits for us. From the very beginning of EFP battle group presence in Lithuania, what we enjoyed was possibility to share knowledge and skills and to use the competences from EFP forces to build our own national competences, especially now when we are developing our national division. We're using very intensively their skills, their competences, creating the new units in our structures like tank battalions, IFV units, long-range artillery units, and all this stuff. So we're enjoying their presence from the purely, let's say, military perspective to using as a additional source to develop ourselves. And actually, again, those all political benefits and deterrence is always also very important and plays a significant role.
Certainly. Well, thank you for a good second part of this. We'll open it up to the floor now. Want to offer the crowd the opportunity to ask some more questions. Just like the last panel, go ahead and raise your hand. I'll pick you out, and we'll bring the mic to you. First, Michelle, and then Jerzy.
Yeah, thank you so much. I had a question. It was addressed at the start that some of the barriers or fortifications are being prepared, meaning that they in daily life would not be a struggle for people still living there. Then the question for me would be how much preparation time do you really need to put them in place to be effective? Is that a matter of hours or days or weeks? So could you give an estimate of that?
Perhaps one of our engineers?
Yes, okay. So as I said, it's all about peacetime preparations. So when we are talking about 3B defense line and, for example, the bunkers, then it takes time. I'm not able to tell the exact time right now because, as pointed out earlier, last October we tested the bunker prototypes. Now we are evaluating the results, and we have also like a second round where the civilian companies who have already something to show us showed it, and actually tomorrow there will be another evaluation round when we have decided which kind of bunkers we will choose and buy. Then the times also comes out there. But we know that we don't have more than 2 weeks to do the preparations, but the main idea with 3B Baltic Line is that we do it in peacetime and as much as possible. So, and regarding the obstacles, as I pointed out also, that in peacetime we are putting them on the place because it's restricting the civilian agriculture and so on, but as close as possible. And those small, like engineer assets places, we are calling engineer resource parks. So some countries have different approaches, even NATO, they have like a bigger one and less of them. Our approach is that right place already as close as possible. So small ones, but a lot. And those are already in place, I would say.
In Latvia, right now, I already mentioned, we spent around 20 million euros last year to buy those counter-mobility materials, and we placed them in a permanent engineer resource parks, and this is the year 2025 when we are planning to put them on the right place. There is no problem when we speak about the zero line. Zero line, I mean, this is the zero line where the border, state border, is with this fence already built. There is no problem to put those obstacles because the ground or the soil belongs to the government. But in other places where this place belongs to the civilians, we have to have good this law in place, or how to say this legislation in place. And what we are doing right now, our Ministry of Defence is working to have this already. I think it's proceeded to the government to have one law, additional law for the mobility and the counter-mobility, which allows us to get to those piece of land very, very fast and to build what is necessary for the military. Let's hope this year this law will be in place, and then our hands will be open, not tight in the future. Yeah.
I think we had a second question here, and then we'll go to the back.
Thank you, and once again, thank you for very good presentations. My question is about the challenges that actually are posed to the Baltic Defence Line and in general to the NATO's eastern flank by the existence of the Kaliningrad enclave, the Russian enclave around Königsberg, and how those can be also minimized. Thank you.
I'll start on this end. Our Colonel?
Yeah, actually, we are focusing our counter-mobility effort in two directions. One to Belarus and another to Kaliningrad. It's a little bit different situation because we have River Nemunas on the border with Kaliningrad. So in some extent, it's easier to control and to prepare. Just we need to be ready to block some possible fording sites and to block existing roads. Yeah, but we are even we know with discussions and understanding what is the likelihood of attack from Kaliningrad side. But anyway, yeah, we are focusing on our preparedness to block all those possible avenues of approach from Kaliningrad and to protect them and keep Russian forces inside Kaliningrad once we will need to deal with those coming from Belarus.
Next round of questions. First Ron, and then here.
Yes, thank you very much. I had a question. I was looking, of course, at the map. If you look at the map, indeed, Kaliningrad and Belarus, one could imagine that Vilnius would be quite a likely place where the first pressure will be exerted due to, of course, the placement near the border and also the possibility of closing the Suwałki gap at the same time. So I was wondering, from your point of view, is that the same assessment you make in terms of risks that Vilnius would be a high pressure point, and how does that inform the regional strategy for all the three countries?
Yeah, actually, for sure, Vilnius is considered as probably first key or vital ground or key city in Lithuania, which will be under pressure, under attack, indirect or direct. We understand it and we prepare for this, focusing our counter-mobility effort not only on the borderline with Belarus, but also to prepare the staff and to have counter mobility resources inside the Vilnius to make preparation faster. It's what is good that not only armed forces are thinking about this, but municipality of Vilnius is also very active in this sense in preparation. We are also, according to our, let's say, technical specifications, we are buying some engineer staff resources to have inside the cities. We have next month on February, we will have a tabletop exercise with the municipality of the Vilnius to talk, to discuss about the challenges and how better preparation to make together, all together. So it's on the agenda. It's important and very issue of high risk, let's say. But we are working with this. There's a possibility to close the Suwalki corridor from Belarus, from Kaliningrad. It's one of the key, not key, but one of the course of action. So for us, it's important to have this Suwalki corridor opened, at least for the very beginning of the conflict. So our plans are let's say, thinking about this issue. We are talking and working together with Poland bilaterally and in this, let's say, NATO format as with multinational division Northeast, multinational core Northeast. So yeah, those 2 points are hot, and we're thinking and working on this.
Great. I know we had another question right here in the fourth row.
Hello, and thank you for the insights that I got to hear today. My question relates to the fact that the Baltic Defence Line was publicly announced in January of last year. And did you see any kind of escalation or movement from the Russian side following the announcement in this past year? Are they bringing troops? Are they building fortifications? Is there something that they're trying to mirror your efforts? Thank you.
We can start for all three.
From Estonian side, rather no. So right now the main focus is in Ukraine. Yes, we know that they are restructuring their units, but this goes already a little bit red stories. But rather than that, no. And that's why we are not hiding also. We are rather saying that, hey, we are doing it. And then, as mentioned earlier, for us it's nothing new. Now it's just the political level that, hey, we are preparing in peacetime. And that's okay, I would say. You know, when then? Wartime, it's late already, you know.
Yeah, from Latvian, I would say also no. I'm visiting just several times a month this our border. I just saw a few places, observation posts from the Russian side to build up in those places where we already closed those border crossings, not more. Also from the Belarus, yeah, they built some firing positions, but this is just a few. I would say no.
Yeah, from our point of view, what we see, yeah, there is some this, let's say, propaganda noise in media. Especially Maria Zakharova is very active, commenting all that stuff. But on the ground, we do not see anything in Belarus. Yeah, they probably do not have, as a Belarusian armed forces, a reason to do something. But we didn't observe any, let's say, fortifications or built up of something, at least on the borderline. And from Kaliningrad also, we do not observe any significant movement. We have already closed one of the bridge to Kaliningrad with our fortification means, and we had some kind of public events of our former Minister of Defence, introducing to the media, to the society, this event, and we expected some possible reactions from Kaliningrad, but everything went quiet, and we do not observe so far anything active on the ground.
Sure. Another question here.
Yeah, I can use my own phone.
Use
Yeah, at the start, you, I think all three, but especially you, sir, alluded to the fact that you lack strategic depth to do maneuver warfare, basically. At the same time, and that's the question that Dave has also addressed, that we have two new NATO members lining up, that maybe in theory there is a bit more strategic depth. Does that, did you take that into account, or is that an impossibility because there's sea between it? How should I interpret it, this one actually?
Yeah, in Estonian way, right now we are thinking so that before we had a plan where we were doing like delay some days, and then we're waiting where the NATO troops will arrive, and then we will attack and win the war. But now when we are seeing the exact war and what they are doing in Ukraine, nobody wants the war in their soil. This is like the one thing. That's why we are starting from the border. If they will attack, our Jod have said we will escalate definitely. So deep fire back to them. And then if the NATO is with us or not, but we are not, just waiting and letting them to hit us. So we are preparing for that. So we'll definitely fight back and as hard as possible.
Any other questions? We have some time for maybe one or two more. Sure, please.
Could you please expand more on the medical care by the front lines and what lessons can be drawn from the Ukraine war and how it can be implemented in the Baltic states? What are the priorities specifically for medical care right now, and how is the training undergoing for that? Thank you.
Probably I will not provide specific details, but the most important probably understanding of the soldiers, understanding of the leaders about the importance of this medical care and importance to anyone in the unit to have competences and practice to provide this medical care. Next thing is organizational one. How to organize and how to adapt this medical evacuation system. Those former, let's say, previous approach, when we have different levels, you call to roll one, someone will come to take casualties. You call to roll two, maybe helicopter, maybe any other ambulances will come. With golden hour, all the staff, and the Ukrainian experience from our lessons from Ukraine shows that in exercise it could be, let's say, you can exercise and can use, but in practice, in reality, it doesn't work. You need to adapt, you need to create, you need to think other means of evacuation than this standard military ambulance with Red Cross on the doors and all that stuff. So you need to be very creative who and how will evacuate casualties from the line of contact. So probably that's it.
I just want to add that one and very important thing is the evacuation. But another thing is that you need to put these people somewhere. So that's why we are like integrating all the civilian hospitals, what we have, and all the civilian doctors. They are like day by day getting also the military education to be ready, because we are aware that we don't have so much military hospitals, some tents, but this is not enough. So we need to use already existing buildings, hospitals, and for that we are doing plans. And most important, we are also practicing it through. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And the COVID situation was one of the very good example where we were all like, oh, what the hell? And then we practiced, and finally we were, I would say, quite good. In wartime, the situation will be the same. That there will be lines with people who need medical care, So you need to have plans and practice it. That's it.
Last round for questions here. One more from Ron.
Yes, maybe one more question. I was wondering, of course, there might be moments that Latvian and Estonian or Latvian and Lithuanian brigades will have to fight side by side on one front. In terms of interoperability or like gear or drills, or to what extent that already has been prepared, and what are the plans in such a situation?
We'll go south to north this time.
It's possible situation, and we are preparing in terms of different exercises, participating in exercises. But what we have NATO standards. NATO standards for the equipment what we use, for the procedures what we use, and the standards are common for everyone. What we need just a practice during exercises to practice those procedures and to establish this let's say Malaysian personal knowledge of on the leadership level of two brigades and all that stuff. But actually the gear, the means, the procedures are known and are in place.
Yeah, and already mentioned there was NATO standards for the equipment, the STANAGs, and we already have done several exercises with our neighbors, with Lithuanians and Estonians, especially those brigades who are bordering with our neighbors. This is an annual exercise every year.
Yes, and I just want to add that we have several levels, different working groups, engineers, logistics, not monthly, but twice a year, I can say. They are gathering and sharing their plans and expertise. And also regarding the war plan, there is like higher HQs what are leading us as a nations, divisions, and hopefully Netherlands and German will be part of that also soon, more. So, yeah, right now, for example, engineer-wise, in MNC Northeast, the multinational court Northeast, engineers are gathering, sharing their plans, showing where are their minefields. So we are making like a one and only minefield, so everybody will understand, okay, there is no gaps, all is like covered, and so it goes side by side. As I pointed out, we have taken like one region, one operational region, so there is no Estonia or Latvia or Lithuania alone. So we can be strong, but if they are not, then we are, bad situation anyway, or vice versa. So we need to fight side by side and be strong, everybody.
Yep. Exactly, just like we're all on stage right now. So, Colonels, everyone, thank you all very much for your time. I think we covered just about every military joint function in the J's, so I think that really wraps all of it up. So please join me in giving a round of applause to our speakers here. And I'll hand it back to you, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think there's still a present for the speakers, isn't it?
Over there.
I know it's a book. Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen. Should we make a picture still? Okay. And afterwards, shall we wrap up with a couple of words from my side still? Should be no gaps in the border, huh? Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen. Okay, yeah. So what did we pick up today actually in the discussions? Just a couple of bullets that I just wrote down. Is there's a need for higher defense spending. 2% is not enough. We should act now. We need to prepare more and faster. It should be a whole of society approach. It should be a collaboration effort. Collaboration is key. We can learn a lot from the Ukrainians. And I think there's also still a lot of lessons to be identified and implemented still. So that is, I think, an important one. And maybe last but not least, especially this morning, it was addressed quite a few times that defense industry capability development is still lagging behind. That should be boosted. And I know that also in the Netherlands, we will have a event on the 12th of March on defense industry development. Just a couple of doors to that side. And maybe we will be able to also invite some of you there as well. But there's much more to come. It's not all open for everybody, but you should know that we at HCSS, we will address quite some of the topics that are being addressed today, be it either on missions and operations or on the concept of deterrence or the concept of sustainment, which is important as well. It's partly addressed this morning. But the elephant in the room, of course, is that if you meet the enemy, you have a lot of casualties. So do we have enough people to quickly fill in the empty spaces? And that's maybe also a topic that we might address at one of the events still to be planned. But without further ado, I would like to thank you all for being here today. There will be, a lot of is captured, so in the coming days and maybe weeks, we'll share some of that material on our platforms, so you can look it back if you want to. And then I would thank you all for coming, and I wish you a nice day. Thank you so much. And thank you, of course, for all the embassies making this possible again. Thank you so much.